completely immersed in the college social environment. Oops. This is a useful, this here is a useful link for parents to go in and learn about college opportunity programs for students with intellectual disabilities. And I believe Roxy has a copy of this presentation. So if not, I can send it to you if you send me your email. This here is my contact information that you can email me at any time if you have any questions about the programs in Massachusetts. Or if you have questions now, if there's time, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Let me just see. I see one hand up. I just want to check. It wasn't from earlier. Danny Eddins. Was your question from now earlier? You're all set?
It was from earlier. I don't know how to remove it.
Okay, thank you. Under reactions, you can click lower hand. Fatuma. And Mary, can you also put your contact information in the chat?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see any other hands raised.
Roxy, under reactions, I don't have permission to raise hands. People might not be able to.
Oh, okay.
I just get clap or thumbs up.
You can put any signal up, a clap, a thumbs up. If you put something up, I will ask if you have a question. So I see Tynesha. Do you have a question?
It's Tanisa. No, I just want to make sure that you guys, she was putting it in the chat, so you did it earlier. You said that she can put her contact information in the chat. Thank you.
There is a question in the chat though. Latia Grooms wants to know if there's any disability considered for this program.
The students just have to be eligible to apply for the program. Students just have to have a documented intellectual disability.
Which are
there are all levels of students in the program, all levels of disability.
Thank you. Thank you. And Linda, you have a question?
Julie was saying, and they feel.
Can you ask her? I didn't get to see Mrs. Price's contact info. Are you guys able to put that up again?
She put it in the chat with her email, but we could add it. We could copy it to the bottom, so that'll be the last thing that you see at the very bottom there. So that's her contact with her email.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So the age limit is because the students need to be receiving special education services. Students eligible between the age of 18 and 21 years of age. When they turn 22, they are no longer eligible for the program.
And the other question, Mary, is are 504s eligible or is it only IEPs?
I believe both.
Okay. And before we transition, I just want to check for
Roxy. Yeah,
yes,
I had
Jack.
So is this does this occur during the school year? Is this in lieu of classes? Is this after classes? Is it weekends?
Yes. No, so this is what's happens is the students will attend the MAICEI program at the college or university rather than go to the high school. So typically students spend about 3 days at the MAICEI program, and then the other 2 days during the week, they go back to their high school.
So for kids that are planning on getting a regular diploma, how does that work? Do they get high school credit?
Well, students, if they receive their high school diploma, they're not eligible because then they don't receive special education services anymore.
No. I mean, for kids that are on track to receive high school diploma or taking regular education classes.
they wouldn't be eligible. If you
So you-
receive your diploma, you're not eligible for the MAICEI programs.
No, you're misunderstanding. For people who have not yet graduated,
Yes,
but will graduate with a regular diploma, i.e. they've met all of the district and school class requirements.
Mhm.
Do they, or would they still be eligible to graduate with a normal diploma? If they attend your program, instead
No.
of taking the classes they would need to, that would be required to graduate.
So the students in the program have completed their high school requirements, but they do not have a diploma. Students that receive a high school diploma do not attend the MAICEI programs. I hope I'm,
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I thought that the Baker administration changed the directive that said if you've met graduation
Mhm.
requirements, high schools must graduate you. So
I
I
know-
don't see where the
okay.
hole is anymore.
that is, I saw that language not too long ago go through, and I didn't know if it was approved, to be honest with you, but Jack, I'm happy to, is it Jack? If you
It
could
is,
put your-
Jack, and you can follow up, Jack, you could follow up with a little bit more of
Yes.
the details after that.
Yes,
And maybe once you double check, you can also provide us the clarifying information for
I
others
sure
who
can.
have that question also.
and Jack, if you could put your contact information in the chat, I'm happy to reach out to you as well.
And the question also there from Donna is, what age would you apply?
If you have not passed the MCAS, you can apply when you're 18. If you have passed the MCAS, you can apply when you turn 20.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And Jack has put his contact information there for you.
Yeah.
And I'm just checking if there are any other questions about this specific program. All right. Thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate it. And Mary is going to hang around for about 20
Yes.
minutes right now, just
Yep.
in case anyone has some additional questions they'd like to ask. Nicole, you're asking about opting out of MCAS, if they can participate if they opt out of MCAS in high school. Is that considered a not
Yes.
pass?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, if they haven't passed or taken the MCAS, they can definitely apply at 18.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we appreciate you staying to just
No
because
problem.
sometimes other conversations generate a question that you might
Perfect.
then be able to ask.
Okay, thank-
Including the question, would you need to be accepted to the university, whether it's UMass or Berkeley, or a different admission? Is it a different admissions process or the traditional
Yes.
one?
So the MAICEI programs have their own application. So it is similar timeline to the regular college application, but they have their own applications that they send to the district, and the district will recommend students to apply to the program.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Perfect. So thank you very much, Mary. And I just want to also pause to give a chance for some of our BPS officials on the call to just be able to say hi, so they can also put their contact information. Because one of the purposes of having them here too is if there are concerns or things they can connect you with, then you'd be able to reach out to them directly also.
Mhm.
And you kind of have a name and contact information and a face.
Yes.
So first I will start with Donna, if you'd like to say hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you. Every time I come, I learn something new. So I appreciate being in this space. I am Donna Lashes. I'm the engagement coach for the Family Student Engagement Practice Team. And I can help you with anything, if possible, that you need. If I don't know it, we'll find it.
Thank you, Donna. If you can make sure you just put your information in the chat there, that would be lovely.
Will do.
Thank you so much. And next, Mary Marcella.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Marcella. I'm one of the assistant directors for special ed for K-8. I cover most of the East Boston, Charlestown, and North End region, but more than happy to support. And I'm also supporting some Dorchester Roxbury schools, as well as our out-of-district students. So I'm typing my information in the chat, but please reach out if there's anything I can do.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, so the next presentation that we're going to have is from, let's see, Becca Cronin from Partners for Youth with Disabilities. So Becca, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Roxy. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you all. Lots of familiar faces. My name is Becca Cronin, and I work at Partners for Youth with Disabilities. I'm here tonight to talk about our career readiness program, specifically our pre-employment transition services. And I'm going to share my screen now.
And Becca, while you're sharing your screen, I'm just going to remind you about the rate of speech, because I'm a fast talker also.
Oh, sorry.
So just
Yep.
slow down a little bit. Take that breath after the sentence, and so that our interpreters and individuals like me who process a little slower can take it all in. So thank you.
Thank you, Roxy. All right. So Partners for Youth with Disabilities is an organization whose goal is to create a world where young people with disabilities will lead self-determined lives, excuse me, with dignity, pride, and purpose. And to make this happen, we build the skills and abilities of young people with disabilities and increase the inclusivity of workplaces, organizations, and communities. So we are a nonprofit organization that has been serving the greater Boston area since 1985. We have over 30 years of experience working to raise the skills and abilities of youth with disabilities, as well as increasing the inclusivity of organizations and communities. We run a variety of programs. We have one-to-one group and online mentoring. We have career readiness training, which I'm here to talk about today, and disability inclusion trainings. And to learn more about our programs, I have listed the website here, and this PowerPoint has been sent over to Roxy, so hopefully you will all receive it afterwards. So our career readiness program overall is an inclusive job readiness program that has existed for over 25 years and impacts the youth of over 150 participants each year. We address the barriers to employment using a 3-tiered curriculum, and that involves academic learning, real-world experiences, and mentoring. The curriculum is based upon the principles of UDL, or the Universal Design for Learning, and we really pride ourselves on that. Lastly, our career readiness curriculum is offered in more than 7 Boston Public School classrooms, in addition to offering a community-based after-school program. So this is how our curriculum is divided up, where it's designed in 7 units. So there is the intro to career readiness, steps to finding a job, self-care, career soft skills. We really talk a lot about soft skills, self-advocacy, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship. And this is just a list of some of the materials that are provided with the curriculum that we use. So now I'm going to transition to that community-based after-school program called PREETS. PREETS stands for Pre-Employment Transition Services, and it serves students ages 14 up until their 22nd birthday with a documented disability. And just to clarify, this can be an IEP, a 504, a medical diagnosis from a doctor. It just has to be documented in some way. Our goal is to provide the students with confidence and the skills to get ready for work. And it is a program that is fully funded by the Massachusetts Rehabilitation Commission, so it is completely free to you. So the overall goal of PREETS is to really help students with disabilities explore, increase their awareness, and prepare for post-secondary employment and education. And this is through 5 core services that I'm going to jump into now. So in pre-ETS, we explore students' strengths and their abilities. We uncover what type of work students are interested in and what options there are out there for work. We discover the kinds of education that might be needed in that particular field or career choice. PYD is always finding resources and tips to guide students in taking those next steps. So pre-ETS is broken up into 5 components. There is work readiness training, job exploration counseling, self-advocacy, work-based learning experiences, and post-secondary education. During our work readiness training, students learn about how to give a professional introduction, how to look for a job. This can be anything from looking in a newspaper at the classified sections to going online and looking at Indeed. We cover all the bases for that. We also work with students on writing their resumes. But before we even get into writing the resumes, we talk about what is a resume? What is the purpose of a resume? And how is this going to help you for the rest of your life, the rest of your working world? And lastly, we work on interview skills. And this can be anything from what do I wear to an interview to how am I going to answer these really hard questions that employers ask? So this is all covered. I know it's a lot, but this is all covered in work readiness training. It is something that takes place in 4 sessions. So it's not something that is covered in one day. Job exploration 1 is a student favorite. Job exploration counseling. It is currently online job counseling where we work with students on learning about their interests, their career goals, and what jobs might be a good fit for them. We like to build on their career skills, especially if they already know what they want to do, by helping more specifically with those resumes and working on cover letters and even job applications. Another fan favorite is our work-based learning experiences. So in this virtual setting, we have guest speakers from different businesses join us to talk about their experience in their current field, how they got to where they are today. We also sometimes have informational interviews where the students ask the business partners questions, and that's always fun. We also have, mock interviews with different business partners, as well as just some fun workshops like coding. You'll see on the screen, we had a baking demo. Lots of opportunities here. 2 other options worth mentioning here are we have an account with Virtual Job Shadow, which is a website that has access to over 300 different career videos, as well as lessons for students to do, a resume builder, you name it, they likely have it. So that's a great opportunity. And lastly, we do offer some paid internships throughout the school year and sometimes even in the summer as our program is ongoing. It's rolling enrollment throughout the year. Self-advocacy is another topic that takes a little bit to cover. There's a lot of important information here. We teach students how to speak up for themselves, understanding their rights as a worker, as an individual, and how to seek support on the job. So requesting accommodations, disclosing their disability if they are comfortable with that, everything like that. And we cover that in about 3 sessions in the after-school setting. The last of the 5 components is post-secondary education. Now, a lot of students get nervous once they hit sophomore year when they're trying to think about what their options are. Am I going to go to college? And if I am I going to go to a 2-year college or a 4-year college? If college isn't right for you, we also talk about trade schools, internships, and all of the different options that are out there for students in the post-secondary world. Excuse me. So this is a copy of our summer flyer. We are offering all 5 components all summer long. So please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about this specifically. I will put my contact information in the chat. Yeah. Now enrolling, like I said before, is ongoing. So it's rolling enrollment. You can enroll at any time. So for the after school program, you can contact me directly. And again, I'll put my contact information in the chat. You can also talk to your child's teacher about pre-ETs, because there's so many services out there and they will likely know what you're talking about. For PYD, you can complete the consent form, which is right here. Again, this PowerPoint will likely be shared out with you. Once I have the consent form and know that you and your family are interested in this service, we will set up an intake meeting. We'll get to know each other, talk about the program, learn about their interests and career goals, and create a service plan that will be the best fit for them. The service plan is really where we go through the 5 components that I briefly just talked about and decide what component will be the best fit for them. So yes, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. And my supervisor, Lindsay, is on the call as well today. So you can also feel free to reach out to her as well.
Thank you very much, Becca. That was great. I will see the hand, and Linda, I'll be with you after the chat question, where Nalita asks for the virtual job shadow. Does the school have to sign the student up, or can individual parents sign them up directly?
So that's a great question. So virtual job shadow does cost money. So we do have an account. Any student that enrolls in our pre-ETS program, we can create an account for, and they will have access to that in their free time.
So I'm sorry, because I was listening for the answer too, and there's a part of me that feels like I missed it. I know you said it costs money. Did you say that so a parent can request to sign up themselves directly?
So I'm not sure about signing up directly for virtual job shadow, but if you sign up for pre-ETS with PYD, we can give them a free account. Does that make sense?
So they could have the account, but then the component, the job shadow, that would be up in the air. Is that something that you could follow up on to find out?
Yeah, I can certainly look into that.
Yeah, if you would look into that and you send us the answer, that way we could share out the answer. So anyone who's interested in signing up like that could find out more about it. And I do see a question just asking about what grade does it start, middle school or high school?
Great question. As soon as they are in 9th grade, so high school, and 14 years old.
Thank you. And Linda, I will let you ask your question live. Linda LaRouge, are you able to unmute?
Sorry, I'm trying to find out what is the difference with the 504 plan and an IEP.
Sure. So a 504 plan provides accommodations, and an individualized education program may have accommodations and services in it. It's based on what your child's needs are. We also, one good thing, if you go to our website, our basic rights workshop also goes into more detail about the differences between those, whether the child has a 504 or individualized education program, and in what circumstances you might want to ask for one versus the other. So the basic rights workshop is on the Boston SpEdPAC.org website, and you can review that video and the handouts that went with it too. Thank you. I just want to double check in the chat. Can an agency like Commission for the Blind pay for your program services, Becca?
So our pre-ed services are they're completely free to you, to the consumer. So the students won't be paying, you won't have to pay for anything to participate with us.
So I think that was from the same person who asked about if a parent can sign up directly. So if they're not getting it from the school with that, and that person wanted to sign their child up, is that even an option, or is that's not an option, because if you qualify, then the service is just free?
Nope, they can still sign up. They can contact me directly, and we just work together to get them enrolled in services. And it's still completely free if it doesn't go through the school at all.
Thank you. And Becca, if you could just put, I know you had it on the last slide, but if you could put your contact information in the chat, that would be a great opportunity for people to be able to follow up with you also. And the presentations from tonight, we will post them on the SpEdPAC website. So along with this recording, you will also have access to the presentations. So I want to just make sure everyone is aware of that. So does anyone else have any questions for Becca? No? All right, so thank you. So continuing on with different types of transition services, next, Marcia Fitzpatrick, Assistant Director of Transition Services, will give an overview of those transition services that are available to BPS students. So the floor is yours.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Marcia Fitzpatrick, the Assistant Director of Transition for the Boston Public Schools. And I'm here to present on transition services. For Massachusetts students receiving special education services, secondary transition is a time that begins when they turn 14 or earlier if the IEP team agrees. From age 14 until they graduate or turn 22, students on IEPs receive transition services from their public school districts. Transition services are defined by IDEA as a coordinated set of activities designed to be within a results-oriented process to facilitate the students' movement from school to post-school activities. The necessary transition services vary from student to student according to their own unique needs. The coordinated set of activities is a collaboration between schools and families. It takes into account a student's strengths, preferences, and interests, and it includes instruction-related services, community experiences, development of employment and other post-school adult living objectives, and the acquisition of daily living skills, and a provision for a functional vocational evaluation when appropriate. Instruction as a transition service is a broad range of activities that promotes access to school curriculum and helps students gain needed skills to move toward their post-secondary goals. Instruction around daily living skills is for students who need preparation in specific life skills, and these skills include self-care, money management, and transportation. Related services are the supports such as occupational therapy, speech therapy, assistive technology that students need to access more integrated work, education, and living environments. Within the context of transition services, related service providers help students determine what related services they need when they leave high school, how to identify the appropriate agency to provide those services. They can help identify how the student can actually access those services and support students in making connections to the needed services prior to exiting high school. Community experiences involve a variety of activities and experiences that are provided outside of the school building. So these are the experiences that can happen within the school setting or that the family can support the student in participating in. So examples of this are shopping for food or clothes, using public transportation, finding recreational and leisure activities such as going to the gym, participating in a community-based or after-school athletic team, and finding a hobby, something they like to do and want to do on the weekends. Other community experiences include job shadowing, internships, work experiences, and college exploration, such as doing a college visit or just going online and finding out information about colleges. When we talk about the development of employment focuses on the development of work-related behaviors, we're talking about behaviors such as job seeking and keeping skills, because some people are good at getting jobs, but actually being able to keep the job and sustain the employment is very important too. We want to talk about career exploration, skill training, and employment. Adult living objectives are the services that we do once in a while. We don't do these services all the time, but we want students to be able to access to have the ability to do these activities when they need them. So these are accessing an employment support agency, registering to vote, filing taxes, renting a house or an apartment, accessing medical services and insurance, and accessing adult services, college information, and Social Security income. Daily living skills. Again, if appropriate, not everybody needs to work on daily living skills because these are things that most adults do every day. And they are grooming, preparing meals, budgeting, maintaining a home, paying bills, and caring for your clothes. A functional vocational evaluation is another component that we do not do for everybody. So the importance of a functional vocational evaluation is that it's done in a situational or community-based activity. So a student would be in a work setting and the adult would do observations, collect data from a task analysis, and use other formal or informal measures to determine how successful that student is in that setting. So Massachusetts uses the Massachusetts Work-Based Learning Plan, and we embed the Massachusetts Work-Based Learning Plan in our school year, as well as our summer sites. It's kind of exciting with the MyCap is gaining steam in the state of Massachusetts. And so all students are going to be able to compile an e-portfolio. And one of the components is the Mass Work-Based Learning Plan. And we already have students that actively have them. So when the portfolios go live, our students will be able to upload them right away, and they won't have to start from the beginning. Most instructional.
Marcia, just slow down a tiny bit, please. Thank you.
Sorry, Roxy. Most instructional and related service activities are school-based, and the Office of Special Education provides supports through a variety of vendors and partnerships that are overseen by the SpEdPAC department. So I would like to take a minute and explain that the SpEdPAC department is a group of 7 community connection facilitators, 3 community field coordinators who provide support at work sites, and 1 ed coach who supports students at MAICEI. The CCFs are service liaisons to students, families, and outside agencies. They also provide specialized transition support to teachers based on individual classroom needs. So in the Boston Public Schools, there is no physical Strive program. Many times people ask me about their students starting the Strive program, and there is not a physical Strive program. It is a support program within the Boston Public Schools. So now I'm going to review school year partnerships and training sites. So our school-based partnerships are Impactability, Best Buddies, YEP through PYD, MBTA travel training, MRC Priettes, and we have 4 Priettes providers in the Boston Public Schools, Green City Growers, Triangle Culinary Program, and You're With Us. Our school year training sites are digital imaging at English High School, the Wentworth Institute of Technology, the Tobin Center, the Animal Rescue League, the Roach Ice Rink, Goodwill Transitions to Work, Project Search, which has sites at New England Baptist Hospital, as well as Spalding Rehab Hospital in Charlestown, Project Reach, which is located at the Gillette World Shaving Headquarters in South Boston, and JVS, whose main training facility is located on Federal Street in downtown Boston. And I just want to make some of our programs, Wentworth, DISC, JVS, and are citywide, and Project Search is citywide. But other programs such as the Ice Rink and the Animal Rescue League are partnerships that were nurtured from one school reaching out to that agency. So not all students have access to certain partnerships, but we are encouraging every school to network and build partnerships, and we will support them through the Office of Special Education and the Strive Department. For students who would like to explore post-secondary education, we have partnerships with the KEY program at Roxbury Community College, the MAICEI program at Mass Art, and we have dual enrollment opportunities with Bunker Hill Community College, as well as Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology. And summer programming. Some of my favorite programming of the school year happens in the summer. Summer programming is based out of Madison Park High School with some satellite sites in the city. And this summer, I'm very excited that we are going to begin transition skill classes. So normally students would attend ESY while they complete their academic requirements. And then students who possessed a certain skill set would move into brief pre-vocational or vocational training. And we found that we had students who didn't yet possess the skills needed to engage in pre-vocational training, but had met their academic requirements. So this year, I think we have 10 cohorts identified, and those students will continue to work on functional academics. They will go out and do community access activities. Some of the teachers are planning to do job shadowing within the vocational programming at Madison Park. Others are going to do travel training, exploring the city, going down to the Boston Common, downtown Crossing, so students can go shopping. And embedded in this, we're going to make sure that students are working on their self-regulation skills, because we want them to be able to achieve their maximum potential, and self-regulation is very important when you want to move into college or career. And another component that we'll be exploring are employment readiness skills. Some classes will be using the transition passport found in the unique curriculum, and others will be maybe doing pre-ets with Becca. So I'm very excited. This is going to be wonderful for our students. So the students who possess the prerequisite skills necessary for vocational exploration are put into cohorts, and those cohorts travel through a different shop every week for the 6 weeks of the summer program. So this year's VoceX program has culinary arts, facilities, carpentry, graphic design, business technology, automotive detailing, art, and horticulture. When students have completed a year or two of pre-vocational training and are ready for paid employment, they are then able to be part of the summer training sites that are paid for the Boston Center of Youth and Families. And we have on-site adults, so it's a supported environment, but the students have much more independence than they did during the pre-voc opportunities. So this year we have auto detailing, bicycle mechanics through, and that is a program that's based on the Bikes Not Bombs program. We have culinary arts, we have facilities, we have custodial, which goes and hopefully we'll be cleaning the bowling building. I don't know if we're going to have access due to COVID restrictions. We have digital imaging, again at English High School. We have carpentry, and very exciting this year, we're going to have office assistants. So older students in the ESY programming will be on site at other elementary or K-8 ESY sites, and they will be acting as the office assistants. So this year we're only using 2 sites and we're calling it a pilot, but we hope that it will be able to grow for next summer. And then the Wentworth training program runs almost all summer long. That's actually a 10-week program, and those students work at Wentworth almost all year round. Okay, so questions?
Thank you very much. Karen, I saw your hand up first, so I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Okay, technology. So my question is, I recently just got my grandson, and he is 15, and this will be his first year going all year long. I understand that it's a 6-week summer program, but my question has to do with transportation. And I heard you talking about teaching mass transportation. Is that something that he would be eligible to participate in? Because he comes from an environment where the word bus means nothing to him. He has absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
And that's a skill set that he really, really needs living in the city.
Thank you, Karen. Let's give Marcia a chance to answer the question. Go right ahead. Thank you.
So Karen, we're actually very fortunate that we have a great relationship with the MBTA paratransit program, and they support us in travel training. They did some online. We don't know if they're going to do it this year, but we also have a partner, Work Inc., and they provide travel training for students that need it. And this summer, one of our hopes is that because we do have that extra week, that we can actually build in time for travel training for students. And I know that a lot of parents, you know, at first glance are like, I don't want my child on the orange line or maybe the silver line, but travel training can begin with crossing the street safely. So we're going to try to build in from the beginning where students are and really take advantage of the extra time that we're going to have this summer.
Marcia, can you just talk about how, if you don't have that yet, how you access it to get transportation training?
So all the 6 of the Strive Community Connection facilitators are assigned to all schools with students age 14 to 22. And they are liaisons between teachers and COS. So I would reach out to the child's teacher, find out who the CCF is, and generate an email, and so you can CC me. I'll put my information in the chat, and we can begin to determine the needs around travel training.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And next, Kelsey, your hand was up.
Yes, thanks, Roxy. Hi, Marcia. Just one quick question
Mhm.
to reiterate. How would a family, since it sounds like obviously, right, there's no base camp for the operation, you're sort of a mobile operation. How would a family begin or initiate that process of that evaluative portion you mentioned many slides ago? The sort of the thing that makes a student eligible or not, or evaluates their level of
For the work-based learning plan?
yes.
So we conduct those. We do that so our students that are at Wentworth and all the students that are in the pre-vocational and vocational shops during the summer, the teachers do the work-based learning plan. It's a routine for us. So what you should see now with the MyCap, all students that are exploring careers should be uploading work-based learning plans into their e-portfolios. So that should be a conversation you can have with a guidance counselor or a COS, so that you
But it sounds like it's not something that a parent, I'm just thinking of other parents, it's not something that a parent has to work terribly hard to seek out, is what you're saying. It will. Okay. No, that's helpful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. And just in general, Marcia, can you just talk about, because one of the comments in the chat, Steve mentions that obviously his child graduated a few years ago, but for those students who may be graduating, or are some of these services also available as CCS COVID compensatory services for the students if they're graduating and maybe they were going to do some of that travel training before and other things, but due to COVID, they didn't get an opportunity to?
So yes, we have been in as many CCS meetings for students that are either getting ready to graduate with the diploma and move into post-secondary life, or will be transitioning into adult services. We are trying to attend those so that we can create the appropriate CCS services. Like, we literally have, I think, 2 students that are starting travel training, like hopefully next week, so they can be done before graduation. So it's a tight turnaround, Roxy, but we're getting as much done as we can. We're using all the resources we have to make sure that if a student needs a little extra before they move out into the world, that we give it to them.
Thank you very much. And because you, as you mentioned, you're going to put your contact information in the chat so that additional questions can be there. Thank you very much. The next speaker, because I know we are running tight on time, so I'd like to, Yashira, if you could introduce yourself and your role, and then begin to speak about extended school year.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am Yashira Pérez. I go by Joshi. I am the Special Education Family Engagement Coordinator, and I will be talking to you about ESY. Before I begin, I just want to say we won't be able to do case-specific questions today. So if there's any follow-up, you would need to contact your coordinator and the special ed coordinator so that we can answer those questions for you, or the site coordinator assigned to your site. Okay.
You can also email esy@bostonpublicschools.org if you're not sure who to contact.
Thank you, Mary.
And Mary, can you just throw that in the chat also, please?
Absolutely, I'll do that right now.
All right. Sorry. So the extended school year is a 5-week, 5-day, 5-hour per day summer program for students with disabilities whose individualized education plan, IEP, team have identified at risk of substantial regression of skills over the summer. ESY will be July 12th through August 13th. Due to COVID closures, OSE, the Office of Special Education, will be planning to run an alternate program. Families will have an in-person or remote option. Due to the COVID closures, Office of Special...
Can you slow down a little bit, please?
Yes, sorry. Thank you. Due to COVID-19 school closures, the Office of Special Education will extend the program by 1 week for students who are eligible for ESY and compensatory services. The extended program will run from August 16th through August 20th. And please be sure to enter any questions in the chat. We will be sure to answer those at the end. Eligibility is determined by the IEP team and cannot be predetermined or managed as a group. There are many drivers for the.
Excuse me, Yashi,
Yeah.
please remember to take that breath and just slow down, please. Thank you.
Sorry. All right. Slower. Eligibility is determined by the IEP team and cannot be predetermined or managed as a group. There are many drivers for the decision to make a child eligible for ESY. The degree of the child's impairment, the child's rate of progress, the child's specific behavior and or physical problems, the availability of alternative resources, the child's ability to interact with non-disabled children, the specific curricular areas in which the child needs continuing attention, the vocational and transition needs of the child, whether the service is requested is extraordinary rather than usual in consideration of the child's condition. So the dates and the programs are as follows. The extended school year ESY will run from July 12th through August 13th. The extended week for COVID compensatory services for eligible students only will run from August 16th through August 20th. The ESY McKinley will run from July 6th through August 13th. ESY Carter and Horseman will run from July 6th through August 6th. And non-ESY COVID compensatory services only will run from July 12th through August 13th. Okay, so I just want to give a moment for everyone to view the sites and the times and the assigned site coordinators. These will be, this handout will be available to you. So you could access these, and these are also listed on our website.
Yashi, can you leave that slide up for one moment?
Yep.
And I would just like to address two questions that are in the chat.
Sure.
One about okay, Mary, thank you. The person asked if it was in person or remote, and Mary's answered it's both in person and remote. And then the other one is about being automatically assigned that extra week, which is the COVID compensatory services week, where they say they've tried to register, but the form won't go through. So can you address that component of accessing the COVID compensatory services extra week of ESY?
Yeah, Sherry, are you okay with me answering?
Sure.
Sure. So the 6th week of ESY is for students that qualified for COVID compensatory services. It's not automatic and it's not written into the IEPs. So everyone that has ESY in their IEP is guaranteed the first 5 weeks. But if you also have a COVID compensatory agreement that was signed with your school, you may be eligible for that 6th week. If you're unsure if your child is eligible, ask your special ed coordinator or your COS coordinator of special ed. We have so many acronyms and title in Boston, but ask that person to check. Also for the RSVP, it is very finicky. I know Yashi's going to go over it today, but you do need to have your child's last name, the ID number, and the date of birth all very correctly put out. If there's 2 last names, try switching them in the order, try adding a hyphen, try taking it out, even though obviously you know how to spell your own last name.
Mary, I can tell you're very comfortable with the words, but just slow it down a little bit.
So it can be a little bit difficult, but we'll talk more about that. Again, I know this is going to sound like a broken record. If you're having a problem, email the ESY at bostonpublicschools.org that I put in the chat. There's multiple people monitoring it, and we're able to answer your questions pretty quickly. We can also help RSVP your student if you're not able to.
Thank you. So
Thank you. Please continue.
A list of sites just for 1 second again. Now let's together half here. So the mode and model, as in past years, families may elect for their child, to attend full day or services only. Families have the choice for their child to participate in full in-person ESY or remote only ESY. There will be no hybrid option. Remote and in-person ESY are both 5 hours. For non-ESY students receiving compensatory summer learning hours is 3 hours, whether remote or in person. So this is what the Fravo site looks like once you try to register and click on the links on our website. When you are SVP, be sure to enter your child's last name. So if your child is registered under 2 last names or a hyphenated last name, please be sure to enter that. Otherwise, it will not let you proceed. If you do not know your child's student ID, you can contact the special education office or your child's school, and we can provide that for you or help you register. These are the links that are also on our website. You can choose the language of your choice to register. You can also use these links to view your child's assignment if you've forgotten, and or resubmit your response in the event that there are changes to the IEP. Any student with transportation on their IEP will receive those services over the summer, including a bus monitor if it's on the IEP. All families will receive transportation information 1 to 3 weeks prior to ESY. So this also means that any alternate drop-offs currently in the system will drop at the last day of school year. So we want to make sure that you update your address if you have since moved after registering. So I just wanted to provide information for families. This is kind of more or less a handout. So just so you know, the Dorchester, East Boston, and Rossendale sites are not open to the public for in-person appointments. The Roxbury site will still remains closed today. So you have the option to either call the Welcome Center at 617-635-9046 to make an appointment, or you also have the option to book the appointment using this link. And by using this link, you can do in-person bookings or remote bookings. So you could do the appointment by phone as an option. You would just have to share your documentation electronically, so via email. Once you go onto this link, it will opt you to choose your language, the Welcome Center location, in-person or remote option. And again, the remote appointment happens by phone. And you would have to select other transaction for this appointment specifically. Other appointments are usually registration. So again, alternate drop-offs will be deleted in the system after June 18th. So it's imperative that families update their addresses so that we can have that active for the beginning of the start of ESY. So this is the documentation that is needed. And you would also need a copy of photo ID and 2 proofs of Boston residency. So utility bill, a deed, a current lease, a W-2, a bank or credit card statement, a letter. Be quiet for a moment so I can let interpreters. Okay. Right, so all of this will be automatically updated on our site or for transportation within 24 hours. So the sooner this gets completed, the better. We will also be distributing a handout to families to make sure that this information is available to them by different means. Lastly, all ESY students will receive both breakfast and lunch for free at their sites. COVID compensatory students will be provided lunch given the shorter 3-hour day. Service-only students will not receive meals. I know that the pre-EBT card will still be active during the summer, but there is no actual updates on the website. And we are looking to also provide families, remote families meals, but we need to follow up on that. So For any follow-up questions, here is the link to our website as well as the email that Mary mentioned earlier and provided in the chat. So ESY@bostonpublicschools.org. Like Mary mentioned, several of us manage it, so we'll be able to answer your questions as they come along. Our number at the office is 617-635-8599. And I'm gonna stop sharing so that we can start answering questions on the chat.